Merry Christmas, YouTube! This is Nanashi back with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Banlist update video. Okay, maybe talking Christmas is the wrong idea because this list goes into effect on New Year's, but regardless, this is a time to celebrate. We've all been eagerly awaiting this one, and hoo boy, the day deliver. Now, 4 cards have officially been banned. First is a double whammy of YuGiOh the Ancient Sentinel and Kelbeck the Ancient Vanguard. These cards honestly should have been banned a long time ago. What were they thinking releasing a super mill engine during the tier limit format? They should have gone the Hulk route and delayed it until it almost didn't matter. Not to say that Hulk didn't matter, but you get my point. Next is Mathmech Circular. Even at 1, this guy was causing issues as an engine piece, and I think a lot of us saw it coming when it didn't get banned in the first place. And last is Isolde, Two Tails of the Noble Knights. I can only assume this was because of the potential it showed in recent YCS for Infinite Nobles and probably Rescue Ace, not to mention the occasional FTK it helped enable, and it was showing presence in a ton of decks it really didn't belong in. 11 cards were each limited to 1. First is Orcust Harporer. People are literally divided down the middle between hating Orcust for how actively it plays, or think Orcust was treated unfairly for being hit alongside Nightmares. At this point, my only concern is them abusing their rank 8, but otherwise, I think we'll be okay. However, I have the opposite opinion of Redox Dragon Ruler of Boulders. I played through Dragon Ruler format, and it was not pleasant. Maybe I'm being excessively harsh, but I am not okay with Redox coming back. Tempest, sure. Blaster, fine. But Tidal and Redox? No! Next is Rescue Ace Airlifter. Hitting the Spell Searcher and From Hand Summoner makes perfect sense, plus now that Sinful Spoils exist, all decks with a 1-star fire gain a huge buff. Hopefully they hit Sinful Spoils before they hit Fire Kings though. Next is Unchained Soul of Sharvara. Unchained has been showing impressive consistency with their newest pieces and has been claiming top cuts pretty often. Hitting one of their quick responders and convenience searchers makes perfect sense. Next is another double whammy of Sun Avalandrius and Summon Vine Healer. One searches spell traps on summon, the other helps with the Aroma life point plays, both are used in plant link spam, and neither are hard once per turn. Next is Ib the World Chalice Justiciar. This 2-for-1 mid-combo piece is fantastic for decks that rely on World Legacy cards, but it's also another advantage piece that Dragon Link might try to use, and based on that alone, I'm not a huge fan of this change. Next is Snatch Steal. My only hope is it goes to the wayside like Change of Heart did. And last is a triple whammy of Goes In Match, Rivalry of Warlords, and There Can Be Only One. I cited all 3 of these in different decks, and I'm not opposed to the limit, honestly. It shafts decks trying to use them as a playstyle rather than as a tech. 3 cards were put to 2 each. First is Dino Wrestler Pankratops. Dino players rejoice, second free body. Next is Speedroid Terratop. I played Speedroid as an engine to produce bodies and add consistency to Gusto for a long time now, and now that they finally have that cool new support, I guess it's time for me to revisit the deck. Last is Pearly Sleepy Memory. I feel like this won't do a lot. Sure, it reduces the number of free draws on the opponent's turn, and alongside Delicious Memory at 1, it probably hurts the consistency of the spamming, but it doesn't feel like it's going to do a lot long term. Finally, 7 cards have been unbanned and are now back to 3. First is Infernity Archfiend. It increases the odds of seeing it, which is something you obviously want, but more copies doesn't change enough since one doesn't summon the other. Still, as long as Launcher stays where it is, I think we're okay here. Next is Kashtira Unicorn. Honestly, the hit didn't change much in the first place, and as long as a Rise Heart stays banned, this deck is infinitely more tolerable, so I guess it's... Well, okay, Cash having more pieces will never be okay, but it's better than the alternative. Next is Mind Control. I can only assume Konami is trying to encourage stealing opponents' monsters as a means of answering the opponent's board state. And not gonna lie, with Snatch Steal, Change of Heart, and now this in the game back at 3, it's not a bad idea for the replacement for my side deck now that my floodgates have been hit. Next is Pot of Desires. Grand Maju players rejoice, I guess. Next is Spellbook of Judgment. Sure, it pulls a free spellcaster, and that means that Jalgin the Spiritualist might be on the ban list in the near future, but those spells it searches cannot be used until next turn, so nowadays it's okay. Next is Sprite Starter. Now if you're in my Discord server or the Watt Discord server, you know I've been cooking up something new. And this change makes me more determined now than ever to make the attempt, so stay tuned. And finally, Upstart Goblin. Now, I don't know about you, but I love seeing deep draw Exodia decks. I love seeing Nurse Burn do better than before, and I love watching people build 37 card decks. Isn't it just fun? And that is the ban list. This was a sizable list, all things considered, and while most of the changes don't really affect me, it definitely shook up the competitive game state. But on that note, Gusto got a bit of a buff from Speedrun Terratop going to 2, and Sprite Starter going back to 3 makes my new Thunder idea much more consistent. Now there's also the matter of the new Fire King support, the new Shark support, and the new Spirit support, all of which I have to make updates for, so I have a lot of work to do for all of those decks. But I'll worry about that after my Christmas break. I thank you for watching the ban list update, and if you have any opinions about it, feel free to say so below. In the meantime, this is Nanashi, signing out.